Welcome everyone to Dead Talk Live. I'm your host Viz from Walking Dead Now. Want to welcome all of our viewers tonight. Hope everyone's having a good Monday. If you're joining us for the first time and want more information about our show, please visit us on the web at deadtalklive.com. And if you haven't already done so, please visit us on YouTube. Our channel's name is called Walking Dead Now. Please go ahead and subscribe if you have not yet done so. And if you're there right now, we would always appreciate if you click the thumbs up button on this broadcast. So like I said, I hope everyone's enjoying their Monday evening. I know in some places where you guys are watching, it's morning. If it is, I hope you're enjoying your Tuesday morning. We have Cece Weezy with us on YouTube. Khaleesi is joining us. Summer is with us. Lindsay Sparks is with us. On the Instagram side, we have Moni, Alligator, Junio, Walter has joined us. Welcome to all you guys. Vinny is with us. Taco Bell. Ever is giving us a thumbs up, as is Lou. A lot of smiley love hearts coming up and love faces. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me tonight. Just a reminder, we are being joined tomorrow by Lorenzo James Henry, who played Chris for the first two seasons on Fear the Walking Dead. He's going to be right here with us on Dead Talk Live. Chris was a character that you either loved or hated. Definitely not a character that you were meant to feel indifferent to. And Lorenzo did an amazing job portraying and giving us Chris on the screen. And I'm really looking forward to talking to him tomorrow and have him share with us his experiences on the show and what he did to bring us the character of Chris on Fear. So, Fear. Oh my God. Yesterday was the season 6 premiere of Fear the Walking Dead, and it was amazing. There is no other word to describe it. It was absolutely phenomenal. Not only is it the best episode of Fear the Walking Dead to date, it has to be in my top 10 list of Walking Dead universe episodes to date. That's how much of an amazing episode the premiere was last night. And I've been hearing this since last night, messages today. I haven't heard one person say a single negative thing about last night's season premiere to Fear the Walking Dead. I sent a message to Michael Satrazemis after I saw the episode yesterday, congratulating him on an amazing job he directed the episode, and he replied back thanking me and said that this season coming up is quote unquote a big one for Fear the Walking Dead. And I also created a social media post yesterday giving my hats off to both Michael and Lenny James, who of course plays Morgan, who did a fantastic job yesterday on the premiere as well. And before we go any further, yeah, we got Killer Morgan back. We do. But it's not the same Killer Morgan that we have come to know in the past. In the past, we have seen Morgan just be full out, when he gets into his killer mode, really be off his rocker, and that's what drives him to kill the enemy. And in some instances, like in season 3, doesn't matter who the person is, friend or foe, his job was to clear, as was the title of the episode that we saw him in season 3. This is a different Morgan, okay? This is a Morgan who is in his right frame of mind, is definitely mission-oriented, much wiser, a lot more experience under his belt, and that ending scene where he tells Virginia, that Morgan Jones is dead. That's exactly the message that he's relaying onto her. Uh, we're going to see a Morgan that we have never seen before. The Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead, we are getting a completely new Morgan. Like I said, wiser, experienced, in his right frame of mind, but it is willing to kill. He's had enough of this. Uh, him and his group on Fear have spent so much time and energy trying to save people. And for a nutbag like Virginia to come along and to take that all away from them, he's not going to stand by. I mean, when we saw him in the beginning of the episode, he was a mess. He was a mess. That water tower that he was preparing was for Grace. Okay? And then he meets up with the ranger who left Ginny's army. He would not give up on him. We find out later on in the episode that he was bit. He knew his time on this earth was limited, and he never gave up. He brought Morgan back. The guy had his baby. They named the baby girl after Morgan, which I thought was nice. And that battle between the bounty hunter and Morgan, oh man, epic. It was epic. And I'm glad that the bounty hunter was there for a single episode and not someone that we're going to have to see on and off throughout this season. We saw him. He was a ruthless bastard. He was a killer, stone cold killer. No doubt about that. And Morgan got him. He got him. Morgan did not have an interest in taking care of himself. When the guy told him that he can remove the bullet fragments from his shoulder, he didn't want no part of that. That's why he had the red eyes, because he was being poisoned. He had these bullet fragments in him for well over 5 to 6 weeks. As Morgan explains it, he lost track of time. His body was being poisoned, and those bullet fragments had to come out. And before the guy died, he operated on Morgan, and he got those fragments out. And then, of course, the red eyes went away. He healed, and when Morgan drops his stick and picks up the axe, I don't know if that's going to be his new weapon of choice. He might go with both, the stick and the axe. Either way, Morgan, it's a new Morgan. It's epic. I am at a loss for more words beyond what I just said. I am really looking forward to the rest of this season. It's going to be more like what we saw yesterday. And like we've been saying on this show, the articles we've been reading, Season 6 of Fear the Walking Dead is going to be done in a anthology style. That means each episode is going to be focusing on a single or 2, 3 characters at the most at a time. So we may not see Morgan again for another 3 episodes, maybe. Or we might, if we do, it's going to be a little glimpse here and there. Now we get to move on to see what life is like inside Virginia's walls. For the first time, we're going to get to see what it's like inside. Next week, let's see who the character is. Let's see if it's going to be John or June. Remember, they all got split up. There's no 2 of them together. Hell, she even split up Daniel and Skidmark, his cat. They're not even together anymore. Everyone's been split up. So that's how we're going to see, whichever character is going to be on the next episode. Let's say it's Alicia. We get to see what her life is like. And then we're going to find out about John. Luciana was already part of her, Luciana back in season 5, at the end of season 5, gave herself up to Virginia in a deal that would let her friends go. So, I mean, amazing things are yet to come. I want to read what you guys are saying, so let me just scroll through the chats here. CC Wheezy writes, that episode was up there with Clear, and Here is Not Here. Lindsay Sparks on Facebook writes, oh my God, I watched Fear the Walking Dead. Morgan kicked ass. Stone Walkers writes, oh hell, I'm pumped, Morgan. Teresa with us on Facebook from South Mississippi. Welcome, Teresa. Tom is also with us on Facebook. Khaleesi says, my favorite line last night, Morgan Jones is dead. You're dealing with someone else now. And I love that line. It was perfectly put. Perfectly put. Sylvia is with us from North Carolina. Stone Walker replies, best line Morgan's ever had. I agree. And, when we were watching the episode yesterday, in the first several minutes, we see that the walkers are ignoring Morgan. And, of course, we start asking what the hell is going on. Very quickly in the episode, we find out that it's the wound that he has in his shoulder. It's gone infected, gangrene, which is gangrene basically means the dying of the flesh. The flesh around the wound was dying. It was literally dead skin, and that was enough to mask Morgan's smell to the walkers. And that's why they just passed him by. And he can go in and out of places, which is a big reason as to why that ex-ranger of Ginny's wanted Morgan to come back with him, because the place where they were holed up in had become surrounded by walkers, and he could not get through them by himself. He just couldn't do it. So that's why he needed Morgan. So that's why the walkers were ignoring Morgan. There is luckily no immunity storyline. As I said, in our last episode, that would really be a bad idea. I didn't think they were going to go that way anyway, and they didn't, thank God. Just overall, an amazing, amazing episode. We're going to be talking more about it as we go on tonight. We're also going to be talking about World Beyond and the episode 2 that we got yesterday as well of World Beyond, which I am immensely enjoying. We got a backstory yesterday to Felix and how what happened between him and his parents when his dad found out that he was gay, kicked him out of the house. And even as the apocalypse was breaking out, Felix went back home to try to save his parents. They were still not wanting anything to do with him. And we find out that they end up dying in their house, locked away, boarded up. Nobody ever came to rescue them. Obviously, they never got out. They died in their house, whether it's from lack of food. From what we could see on the outside, it just appeared to be just the two of them, his mom and dad, inside that house. So it doesn't look like the house got overrun by walkers. The doors were still locked. And even after 10 years of them being trapped in that house as walkers, and Felix going back while Huck was sleeping to finish them off, he couldn't do it. He couldn't go inside. He couldn't bring himself to go inside that house and kill his parents, even after what they have done to him. And it was cold, man. It was cold. The way his dad treated him, just kicking him out of the house. You ask yourself, wow, does this really still happen in this day and age? And I guess it does. I guess it does. And it was heartbreaking to see, this teenager getting thrown out. But he was a survivor, and it's a big part of who Felix is now. So very interesting backstory that we got into Felix. I'm really curious about Huck's backstory, and that scar that she has on her face. And then, of course, we have the teens, we have Iris, we have Hope, we have Silas, and Elliot, and their journey and their trek. Like I mentioned on Saturday or Friday, it really looks to me, it's like the movie Stand By Me meets, World Zombie, and it's great. We as the viewers, having watched The Walking Dead for all these years, know what awaits these teenagers on their journey. They have no idea. Their characters have no idea. They do not have an inkling of the dangers that they are going to face. But they're going to find out. They're going to get a big crash course on what life outside the walls of their colony is. And I'm just fascinated to see how the rest of this season plays out. I am really enjoying World Beyond immensely. But the star of the show yesterday was Fear. It was by far the big news yesterday, and how amazing of a episode Fear is. Let's see what you guys are saying. Saz is asking about the key, which we saw in Fear. I don't know, and I do want to clear. Well, not clear because I don't know for a fact, but going back to Morgan and how he mentions what happened to him after he got shot. He was being surrounded by walkers. And the next thing he remembers is he hears gunshots. He hears the walkers going down, and he blacks out. He wakes up the next day. Somebody taking care of his wounds, obviously not performing the surgery he needed and removing the bullet fragments, but somebody patched him up, and left him a note. And I have exactly what the note says. The note says, "You don't know me, but I heard your message. You need to do the same. You still have things left to do." Now, for me, there is no doubt in my mind. I know exactly who wrote that note, and it's Sherry. Sherry, for me personally, there's not a shred of doubt. I heard some people mention, it might be Madison. It's not Madison. There's no way in hell it's Madison. It's Sherry, because we know for a fact Dwight's wife, Sherry, is coming to Fear this season. So what that tells us is that Sherry is very close to, Morgan's group before they got taken by Ginny. She's been watching the tapes. She's been following them. Why has she not approached them yet? I don't know. We're going to find out, but I have no idea why she's holding back. Remember, we still have to meet those people with the white masks that we've been getting teased with in trailers and in pictures. We have no idea what they are about. Some articles have theorized that they are a group that is opposed to Virginia's way of doing things, which would make them, have the same mission as Morgan and the people that are currently inside Virginia's colonies. Either way, we have no idea. We don't know if Sherry is with them. Uh, it's a lot of questions to be answered, and it's going to be unfolded over the next 15 episodes. And I'm just thrilled. And it looks like after we finish the first part of Fear, the first part of the season, the first 8 episodes, that we are going to get the second half as scheduled, because they are filming. Fear the Walking Dead. So I see no reason why after the first 8 episodes end, which will be the end of November, we're going to get our usual winter break, which is going to last about 2 months. And then Fear is probably going to resume again either the first or second Sunday in February for the final 8 episodes. So I don't see any delays for the next 15 episodes of Fear the Walking Dead. It's going to proceed as scheduled. And man, lots of questions. Sherry, the people with the white masks. What is life actually like inside Virginia's colonies? Let's compare it to the saviors that we know and seen on The Walking Dead. We know how Negan ran things. How are they going to spice things up and not have Virginia be an exact mirror image of Negan and how he did things? There has to be some different things. And what is this grandiose plan? Negan didn't really talk much about the future. Okay? Negan was not, this is for the future. It's not for yesterday. It's not for today. Negan was about the present. Okay? Let us save you in his sick, twisted, demented way. You give us half your shit and we will protect you. We will keep you alive. That was Negan's mentality. How are they going to make Virginia different? What are they going to do to separate Virginia from being a mirror image of Negan? That's something that I'm very curious about. And what is she really doing? What are her methods? Why does she have people split up? With Negan, all the saviors were either in their sanctuary or in various, several outposts. Virginia, believes she said they have like 897 pioneers, which is more than what the saviors had. So Virginia has a big ass army. Well, not all of them are her rangers, but she has a lot of people under her belt. So what is she doing with them? What is her plan for the future? That even Logan himself told Morgan and the others that she has a way of doing things. You're not going to like them, but she is doing it for the future. So I'm really curious to find out what her sick, twisted idea is on how she is going to rebuild the future for mankind. Let's see what's going on Instagram. Thank you guys for all the love hearts on Instagram. Beb writes, Elton, Hope, Celius, Iris, Huck, and Felix. I love. They are interesting, very good characters. Also writes, Fear the Walking Dead with lots of love hearts. Marko is waving at us on Instagram from Italy. Beeb is from Venezuela. Janat is giving us a thumbs up. Davina, a lot of smiley love faces, and says, love Negan. Darmot is also waving at us. Barbara is also smiling at us. 17 Rock Bro is also waving. Welcome to all you guys on Instagram. Let's see what's going on the YouTube, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter side. Yep, CC Wheezy in regards to Felix's parents. Some people are just ignorant. Yep, no doubt about that. Stone Walker writes, "Isn't Strand a gay character?" Yes, he is. Yes, he is. We found that out way back in season 2. Star Guitar says World Beyond was a little slow, but it was still good. They're still building it up. They're still building it up. Stone Walker says, "Why does everyone hate Elton?" That's the first time I'm hearing that. I like Elton. So does Saz. So does Summer. That's the first time I ever heard any bad things about Elton. Elton is great. Elton is somebody in that group that is needed in that group. He has a completely different take on the world that he is growing up in from the rest of them. And that's why you see Hope and Elton bonding, because Hope is really curious to pick his brain to get his take on what the world is like. She sort of has an idea of what her take is, and she doesn't know what to really make of it. So that's why we saw a lot of Elton and Hope talking in this second episode of World Beyond. Stone Walker writes, "Sherry's the one in the mask." If you're talking about the white masks, we don't know. Star Guitar writes, "Elton is by far the best character, but I want Silas to talk. We need his backstory." And there's a little article that I have here. Well, I don't have it here, but I read a little piece today that when we do get Silas, I keep calling him Silas, when we do get Silas's backstory, it's going to be dark. His backstory is a dark one. So very curious to see what that's going to be about. Daniel on YouTube writes, "I miss Madison so much." I do too. Stone Walker writes, "You probably got bullied or mistreated." Let's see. Star Guitar writes, "Or maybe he's just a little socially awkward." Danielle, "Silas is a very quiet person, and some say it's the quiet ones you have to look out for, which makes me wonder if he's a spy for another community." No, I don't. No, I don't think so. I just don't see that. Saz writes, "I hate Virginia, a Negan wannabe." And we saw that in Dwight's reaction in the finale of season 5, where he tells Morgan that he knows what it's like to live under a person like Virginia. And he was, of course, referring to Negan. And Dwight wants no part of that. He wants no part of it. That's not something that he has any interest. He would literally die rather than go back to anything that resembled the Sanctuary or Negan's way of doing things. And I don't blame him either. Let's see, what do you got? You guys are mentioning Daniel. Maybe he's related to Eugene. Daniel, that would be something. Yeah, it would be. Stone Walker writes, "Virginia gets under my skin." Well, that's what she's supposed to do. And Colby, who plays Virginia, she's doing an amazing job. Corey Adams says Morgan is going to go Rambo on Jenny. Now, if you're in Morgan's shoes, okay? Right now, you're just one guy. The rest of your people, which, numbers 40, is under Virginia's lock and key. This is not going to be, Morgan going face-to-face combat. And that's why we said in the beginning of this show that we have a much wiser Morgan now. A Morgan who's back to being a killer, but is sane, rational, more experienced, a better thinker, and he's going to have to find a way to defeat a very large army right now it's just him. Does he come across Sherry first? That seems more likely to me, that he comes across Sherry, she finds him, or he finds her. She might keep her identity as herself being Dwight's wife, a secret from Morgan at the beginning. I have no idea. But he is going to run across people that are going to help. And what about the woman who just gave birth? Obviously, she's a new mom. I think Morgan is just going to keep her safe, keep her behind that dam, bring supplies for her while he goes off and try to bring his friends back and liberate everyone else from under Virginia's thumb. Gypsy Road is with us. Welcome, Gypsy. Thank you for joining us. So let's see. Celeste writes from Genitar. Gypsy writes, I'm giving World Beyond a thumbs up. Yep, it's awesome. So let's get to some articles that I have in relation to yesterday's, of course, 2 episodes that we saw. Now, the first one is Fear the Walking Dead boss explains why Season 6 made such a big format change. Over the years, The Walking Dead has gone from a television show to a massive on-screen franchise. The zombie apocalypse will continue through spin-offs and movies, with Fear the Walking Dead marking the first side project of its kind. The spin-off is currently in its whopping 6th season on AMC, with no signs of slowing down. Season 6 of Fear is making a major change to its format, with showrunner Ian Goldberg recently explained this pivot. In the 6th season, In the Air, Fear the Walking Dead is going to be functioning more as an anthology series, with each episode more disconnected from a major overarching plot. This will open new storytelling opportunities up, but it's definitely going to be an adjustment for fans who didn't expect such a departure. Showrunner Ian Goldberg opened up about this process alongside with fellow showrunner Andrew Chambliss, saying, it's something we got really excited with the anthology format. These really are 16 movies. They focus on 1 or 2 or 3 characters and have their own identity, their own tone, their own world, while at the same time building to a more cumulative narrative, like Andrew mentioned. Part of the fun of it is we can use these episodes as windows into different communities of Virginia, which are their own little worlds onto themselves, and it also allows us to tell these intimate, emotional stories of what our characters are going through inside these worlds. While Fear the Walking Dead will be making a departure from its usual format, it looks like this change has been energizing for those involved in the zombie drama, and as such, fans will be treated to a different type of storytelling between the all too familiar apocalypse. Just how this all shakes out remains to be seen. Ian Goldberg's comments to Digital Spy show how much is changing for Fear the Walking Dead in Season 6. The spin-off has consistently presented bold narrative choices throughout the course of its run on AMC. The location and starring cast is constantly changing, with main characters dying even more frequently than the original series. So there's no telling what's in store for this new season of Fear. The 6th season started last night with the premiere called The End is the Beginning. Ian Goldberg and Andrew Chambliss wrote the episode in addition to serving as showrunners. The episode picked up on Lenny James, Morgan, with the fate of the rest of the cast left ambiguous for the time being. While fans will have to wait before seeing what happened to the other survivors, the season 6 premiere was a deep dive back into Morgan's point of view. In addition to Fear, the horror franchise will continue with the main Walking Dead series as well as many more spin offs. Now, what did you guys think about, like, I think Saz mentioned that Key, those guys writing on what turned out to be a submarine? That was a submarine that they were spray painting. The end is the beginning. And this key thing, and those guys waiting for that key. I have no idea what the whole significance is behind that key that our supporting character had on last night that Morgan took. No idea what that can be. No idea what those two guys are up to, who they're with. They could be part of the mass group because we know we are getting another group that we don't know if they're good or bad or whatever. I thought it was really cool that they were spray painting "The End is the Beginning" on the side of a submarine. Don't see that very much on TV these days. Gypsy writes, that's good to hear about season 6 because I'm just not into it, but World Beyond has the Stand By Me feeling, so I'm enjoying it a lot. And just before you came on, Gypsy, that's exactly what I compared it to. I compared World Beyond to Stand By Me meets the zombie apocalypse. Lindsay Sparks on Facebook also writes, yep, I'm also wondering about the key. CC Weezy writes, and how did that guy, Walter, end up with the key? You know, I don't know. A lot of questions right there. A lot of questions. Welcome to all the new people who have joined us on Instagram. TC Bay has joined us. Jade is with us. Bassam has joined us. Welcome to all you guys. So, let's get on to the next article, which is Fear the Walking Dead's Lenny James talks Morgan's fate in the season 6 premiere. After a cold open that introduced a new potential threat by way of the episode's phrase, "The end is the beginning," Fear the Walking Dead provided a more clear update on Morgan's unexpected whereabouts with the start of season 6. Left shot and bleeding in season 5 finale, Morgan managed to survive more than a month after that particular night, and the gangrenous nature giving him those red eyes also gave him the somewhat miraculous advantage of not being targeted by walkers. Lenny James and other Fear the Walking Dead cast members recently spoke with Cinema Blend and other outlets about the first few episodes of season 6, and the actor talked about how much he enjoyed the different and new ways Morgan has been used from season to season. When asked about Morgan's Carol-esque turn in the season 6 premiere, I never really compared him to Carol at all watching yesterday's episode. For me, it was Morgan. Morgan, I can't compare Morgan to any other character on the Walking Dead universe. Because he was there since the pilot. Yeah, we only saw him in 3 episodes for the first 5 seasons. I've never compared Morgan to anybody else. I've compared other characters to Morgan, but never vice versa. Anyway, when asked about the Carol-esque turn in the season 6 premiere, during which he actively tried to avoid Isaac's assistance and companionship, here's how Lenny James answered. Well, it's a weird thing to say, but I'm going to say it. I enjoyed it, really. I'm constantly surprised that we're coming up with new ideas for walkers. I'm constantly surprised that we're coming up with new characters that fit in our story. And like I said before, I am constantly surprised with the challenges that Morgan presents me. I think that the fact that he could walk amongst the walkers, as it were, I took it as like it was a superpower. And in reality, it was. A superpower that would have eventually killed him, but nonetheless a superpower. I was like, well, this is new, and I just relished it. As to his journey to the end, I'm always looking for what is the truth of this guy and his journey and his truth at that particular moment in time. Is he believing that he's lost everything and that his belief that he can't die is being tested right now? But does he believe that he has a purpose, that there's a reason why he's in this limbo, this place between life and death, and he's there to make something safe for Grace, which is what we see him doing in the water tower. That's all that's there. That's all there that is left for him because he can feel himself dying. So, I mean, that's how I saw it, and that's how I kind of tackled it. I cannot lie, Morgan's water tower abode was pretty badass. As somewhat as somewhat hard as it is to believe that it exists, and if he made that all happen, in part to make sure Karen David's Grace has a safe and sound place to call home at some point in the future, after she returns to the show, then it's that much more of a bummer that it got demolished by Demetrius Gross's short-lived Josiah LaRue. Of course, he's also being motivated by his mystery savior that saved him from the walkers and patched up his wounds, who I said, my opinion, I really believe it's Sherry. Much as he may have wanted to fight against the instinct at first, Morgan went along with the secret hiding Isaac to find his pregnant wife, which definitely served as a surrogate situation for the pregnant Grace. Plus, it got Morgan to go buck on a bunch of walkers at the same time, and on top of all that, Isaac reversed Morgan's death wish by taking the infection-causing bullet out of his body before it went the whole 9 yards and turned him into a walker. Unless what he said was legit, and Morgan Jones is dead now. Fear the Walking Dead Season 6 is obviously starting later than usual seasons due to the pandemic. It was supposed to start over the summer at some point. Obviously, it's taken its place. Right now is when we would normally be getting the Walking Dead season premiere, but we're getting Fear, as the Walking Dead Season 11 is delayed. So anyway, during the aforementioned press event, I asked Lenny James how he felt about having to keep Morgan's fate a secret for around 6 months longer than he usually had to keep premiere episode secrets, and he answered with, "It's a weird one, really, because I was fine with keeping the secret, except at times when you have to talk about the episodes, where you have to do interviews and doing all of that." And I remember it might have been San Diego Comic-Con, and I was on with Coleman and Alicia, and they were asking about the new season and what was happening, and I found that I could say absolutely nothing. And it was Alicia who went, "You can't say anything, can you?" And I went, "Nope, I can't." That's kind of when it hit me. I'm glad we can talk about it now, just because I think it's an interesting addition to the Morgan story. It's a good kind of kickoff on who he's going to be this season and what he's going to become and where he is going to go. It has been tricky, but it's always been tricky in this particular universe. I learned very quickly and very early on when I went back to The Walking Dead and they stuck me in the middle of nowhere and made everybody around me sign NDAs. Those are non-disclosure agreements, basically to make sure that nobody reveals. This is when he came back in seasons 5. They made everybody who knew, who absolutely had to know that he was there, they all had to sign a separate non-disclosure agreement to make sure that that secret doesn't get out. They take keeping secrets very seriously here, so I'm kind of well practiced, but this was a tricky one, that's for sure. Considering this first episode focused entirely on Morgan's storyline, to the point where a baby was named after him, it intentionally left a whole lot of unanswered questions about the key that Josiah had around his neck, as well as what's happening with most of the other characters in this show. Now that Virginia knows for sure that Morgan is alive and capable of beheading others, it'll be interesting to see how she reacts. She looked a little too scared for her own good in my eyes, and I agree. When she got to that box that had Morgan's head supposedly in it before she opened it, and she had a smile that, hey, you know, this pain in my ass is finally done with and out of the way. And when she opened that box and that freaked out look that she had on her face, seeing that it was her bounty hunter's head instead of Morgan, and her realizing that it was Morgan that did that. And I was really surprised that she basically told him on the radio that, you know what, that's fine. You don't have to be dead, as long as the others think you are dead. And that's when he, you know, I did see that look of fear in Virginia's eyes. Like, damn, you know, he's still alive. He's out there somewhere. I haven't been able to find him for well over a month. What the hell's going to happen? But, you know, she tried to play it off all cool and cocky. This is where she falls short in regards to Negan's character. Because Negan, as we all know, always had a smart-ass remark to say. Negan really never showed any kind of fear, especially when he was around his saviors. With Virginia, she's a lot more emotional. And she definitely had a look of fear on her face. Now that she absolutely has no idea that the Morgan that she has been watching on tape all this time, the Morgan who has been dead set on saving lives, has now reversed and is starting to kill people. That put the fear of God in her, as it should. It should, because she doesn't even know, she doesn't even know, as we the viewers do, of what Morgan Jones is capable of. And he's capable of a lot. So let's see. Khaleesi writes, she did look scared. Yeah, Cece Weesey also says she shook. Definitely shook. So let's see. Oshkosh is giving us a thumbs up. Gyro's also giving us a thumbs up on Instagram. Welcome to you guys on Instagram. So let's see what else we got for you guys. Well, of course, here's another fear article. I'm just looking at the time. Damn. Let me see, because we only have 10 minutes left, and I have all this different, interesting articles. So let me see if I could skim through some of these. So I do want to read a little bit of this next one, because it's about what really is going on under Virginia's rule. Unfortunately, the fifth installment of episodes proved to be divisive, with many taking issue with a more episodic, character-driven format. The first half of the series took the form of spotlights on individual characters. Ahead of the new season, showrunners Andrew and Ian have lifted the lid on what fans can expect to see, and it sounds like the newly separated group will face plenty of hardships. In season 5 was all about taking these characters to a place to kind of, pull them down, and we wanted to have them strive for hope, strive to build a world that they could believe in, a world that they could have thought could be better than the apocalypse that we will always see. And that's why we've always been interested in exploring what happens when you try to do something that you really believe in, where you're trying to create a world that's better than what you currently have, and then that's all gets taken away from you, as it did at the end of season 5. It's like bringing these characters as close as we could to the sun to have them fall, and fall really hard. Goldberg continued, they are now in a situation where they are under Virginia's rules, her morals, her laws, and her values. So what we're exploring this season is the idea of family, and how do you navigate life when you've been separated from the people who have become your family, and also who do you become when you're living under someone else's rule. He concluded this season's we're going to see our characters tested in ways that they perhaps have never been tested before, and it's going to test whether they can still hold on to those people that they fought so hard to become in season 5, or if being under Virginia's rule is going to change them, and what it will ultimately do to them both as individuals and as a family apart and together. And that's an interesting point. For the last several seasons, we have been watching this group on Fear the Walking Dead be all about saving people. Now that they're facing a bona fide bad person, that's what Fear has really been lacking, is a bona fide antagonist. And finally, we got one in Virginia. And even with Logan, he wasn't an antagonist. They would meet up in the middle of the roads and have conversations with one another. Yeah, they would have their guns pointed, but, nothing ever came of that. Now that they're facing a bona fide antagonist, what is that going to do to them? And the values that we've been seeing them try to build, fight, hold on to, and spread to others. Are they going to turn into vicious killers? Is that what's going to need to happen in order to defeat someone like Virginia? And in my opinion, the answer to that question is yes. That is who they need to become. Unless they can stage some kind of huge revolt where not only the people living under Virginia's rule turn against her, but also her rangers. That's the hard part. As with any kind of coup, you got to get the military behind you. And convincing Virginia's military, if she is smart, as we've seen her to be smart, she knows that she is going to give the best treatment to her rangers, because those are the last people that you want to have a gripe against you. But then we have Isaac, that we saw in the premiere yesterday, who was a ranger and left. So we know that she does have her weak spots when it comes to her militia. And maybe that's something that the people that are stuck inside Virginia's colonies right now can use to their advantage and try to get a coup going. If that doesn't happen, if you don't get Virginia's, at least a majority of Virginia's military, militia, whatever you want to call them, on your side, then it's going to be a bloody war. It's going to be just like all-out war in Season 8 of The Walking Dead. There's no other way around it. And it's going to be very interesting to see what's that going to do to Alicia, Strand, Daniel. I'm not worried about Daniel. Daniel has been doing this well before the apocalypse, as we all know. But Charlie, who's still a teenage girl, and June and John, and on and on. Anyway, before we end tonight, there is mention. We've all talked about the anthology Tales of the Walking Dead that is going to come out after 2022, when the original Walking Dead airs its final episode, and we're left with the Daryl and Carol spinoff, Fear, World Beyond, the movies, and also Tales of the Walking Dead. There's an article that we might get an episode about Skidmark, Daniel's cat. We might get a backstory on Skidmark. Now, in the last minute or two that we have left here, who here wants to see, with a thumbs up, show me a backstory to Skidmark and how, she came to be Daniel's cat? I think it's great for them to focus on the pets of The Walking Dead. And of course, we got two big ones. We got Skidmark, and I know from talking to you guys every night, we would all love to see a backstory to Shiva, our favorite CGI tiger in the Walking Dead universe. So I doubt that's going to be an episode where Skidmark and Shiva are together, because big cats and little cats don't quite get along so well. But I think that would be great. I think it would be freaking fabulous to see a backstory on Skidmark, and as we've discussed before, get a backstory with Ezekiel and Shiva. Ezekiel with Shiva just before the apocalypse broke out, as the apocalypse was breaking out, and how Ezekiel saved Shiva, and they became best friends. I would love that. Khaleesi on YouTube writes, I absolutely love the father-daughter relationship between Daniel and Charlie. Oh my God, that is so great. It was so heartbreaking in the finale of season 5 when they split those two apart, and they took Charlie away from Daniel, and Charlie was just freaking out. And Daniel said, I will find you. I will find you. And poor Daniel, and they took Charlie away from him, and they took Skidmark. Why separate the cat from the guy? I mean, really? I mean, talk about a dick move. It's a dick move. You separate Daniel from his cat. Lindsay Sparks would love to see a backstory on Skidmark on Facebook. Dr. Nicholas says, did I just hear Khaleesi? Yes, Khaleesi is a member of ours on YouTube. The Mother of Dragons watches Dead Talk Live. Anyway, guys, we are out of time for tonight. Khaleesi agrees it was a dick move. It was. Virginia did not have to do that, but we've seen it before in people like Negan. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I had a blast recounting yesterday's episodes, amazing episodes of Fear the Walking Dead Season 6 premiere, The Walking Dead World Beyond Episode 2. Tomorrow, we have special guest Lorenzo James Henry, who played Chris on Fear the Walking Dead. It's going to be some great insight into the original cast of Fear the Walking Dead, and a very complex character in regards to Chris, Travis's son. Please tune in and watch that tomorrow. I am very excited. Hope you all have a good night. Stay safe. I'll be back on the air again tomorrow with our special guest Lorenzo. And until then, guys, remember, stay walking.